G'day, faithful, and welcome to episode 27 of the Beyond the Sidelines podcast. This week, we were joined over the phone by Australian Sevens superstar Joe Pincus. We previewed the Sydney Sevens with him and also talked a bit about his unique rise from TSS second 15 up until the world stage. We also talked about the late Kobe Bryant, plenty of A-League, plenty of ABL, and every other sports you love. Let's get it.
There's scenes here at Perry Park.
Chris Lynn has taken the wild thing and sent him.
Oh, Bateman! Bateman! Yeah!
Joining me this week is Gusman and Campbell, the full contingent, as I like to say.
Yeah, we've got that running a little bit.
Yeah, I like it.
I do like it too.
It's a big enough word where I can feel smart.
Well, I mean, I recently got glasses, so that makes me smart, right?
What are you doing,
If
Gusman?
that works.
Reading a bunch.
I don't think anything can save you, pal, if I'm honest.
What do you mean? I knew the word contingent.
You can't even say it.
Contingent.
Sound it out.
It's a tough word because you got it's just the
There's
pronunciation.
lots of syllables, okay, guys?
That's a big word for you.
It is.
He's too far gone, CJ.
Too far gone
Too
already.
far gone.
Too far gone.
As soon as I left school, it's just gone downhill.
Oh, well,
Well,
no arguments here, mate.
yeah,
Anyway, big week of sport this week. Some good news, some really sad news.
indeed.
We'll touch on all of that in the Fast Five, and I think we'll just jump straight into that. That's 5 topics, 1 minute each. Let's start it off with Kobe Bryant, guys. Legend, surprising death, sudden death in a helicopter crash in California.
Super
Shocking.
surprising.
Yeah.
Super
This
surprising.
came out of nowhere, and I don't think anyone it was probably about 6 a.m. Our time.
Yeah.
Waking up to see Fox Sports, all the different news outlets, just filled with stories about Kobe. It's just shocking. Anyone who's been a fan of the NBA, Kobe Bryant, of course, is a massive player from the
Huge,
NBA, 5-time NBA champion with the
Champion.
LA Lakers.
Yeah.
So-
Do you think it's one of those kind of moments? I know people say it a lot for world events, but obviously we're quite tuned into sport naturally. Do you think it's one of those kind of where were you when this, or when you found out about this kind of moment?
I think it's similar, but for me, when I saw it, I thought it was a gimmick, or not a gimmick, fake.
You really?
Yeah,
Wow.
because, you see these things all the time where, celebrity's dead, and it's fake
Yeah.
news. Fake news is the thing we have now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe that was a bit of hope, I guess.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not like a massive NBA fan,
Yeah.
but Kobe Bryant, he transcends sport in a way, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I saw was a message from you
There you go.
saying he's dead. You broke the news to me.
Yeah,
Mm.
there you go.
But I think even more sad than that potentially is his daughter as well. I don't think
Yeah.
we mentioned her before. Maybe we did.
Yeah.
13 years old. Along with her, there was 9 people in total who died on the helicopter. So it was a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California.
Yep.
Do we know who else who were in that helicopter? Because I know they were going to a basketball game.
I know
There was
her-
a coach. There was a coach from one of the sides. I think the daughter's side.
one of
Orange County?
Gianna's teammates
Oh
and
my
her
God.
parents.
Far out.
Again, it's really sad. I think they did 6 laps of the LA Zoo, something
Yeah.
like that, before they spiraled. And
Well, it's been really touching, seeing all the things in the sport, especially in the NBA. With I think there's been petitions to change the NBA logo to Kobe. There's been teams running out the shot clock because obviously it's 24 seconds,
cool. Yeah.
and he wore number 8 as well, but 24 I think he's more kind of
Yeah.
famous
But
for.
it's how he transcends sport. Teams from all codes posting about him and retiring jersey numbers about
Yeah.
the bloke. But let's face it, he'll always be immortalised eventually in the Hall of Fame.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
for now,
Post-mortem. Yeah.
but for now he'll be immortalised as the
Yeah,
guy.
he will.
Every time you throw some rubbish into the
Yeah.
trash can,
Yeah, 100%.
Kobe.
I reckon
Anyway,
they'll have a big jersey up of him in the Staples Center too.
I think they
Oh,
will.
yeah.
That'd be quite a
Or a statue outside maybe.
Yeah, could do. He can be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. He's eligible.
Oh, true.
So,
As a post-mortem thing or just
no,
as
'cause
years outside the league?
You have to be retired for 5 years.
Okay, there you go.
Anyway, sorry, that was a long one, but forgive us for that.
It's worthy of it.
Exactly. Number 2, I don't really want to touch on this one at all.
Mm.
Not at all, Gussie. So, why don't you lead us off here? Because New Zealand,
Okay.
New Zealand and Super Overs, they don't tend to go together quite well.
Not
No.
really.
I'm still
Well-
having a bit of PTSD from the Cricket World Cup
England,
final.
yeah.
The tied final. We didn't lose it, we tied it, and they got the trophy.
Yeah.
Drew.
Well, this loss.
I'm 10.
Ha ha ha.
That's funny. This loss against India, of course, in a T20 match. This is probably one of the biggest cricketing chokes in history.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that's a stretch.
It's up there, mate. It's up
Oh.
there. They they seriously only needed, I believe it was 2 runs off the last 4 balls.
It's still not
the last
that easy
over.
though. Like
2.
you can stuff that a few dots, like
It
some
was
good bowling,
the
good
last,
wide
the
Yorkers.
last over of the regular game was bowled by Shami, and at one point they only needed 2 runs off the last 4 balls, I believe, and they blew it. And they finished on a tied score, which led to a super over, of course. New Zealand put up a score of 17 runs in an over, in a super over. You are winning that 9 times out of 10.
And this was
they
the 10th,
blew
Guzzy.
that as well.
Well, I think they needed 14 runs from their... No, not 14. They needed like 10 runs from their last 2 deliveries. That was India chasing in the super over. And they hit 2 sixes.
Yeah.
Fair play.
6 off the last ball to win it. That's pretty much as good as you can get.
Anyway,
Pretty much,
from
I
the
yeah.
think
chasing side.
when it ends tied, call it a draw. Anyway, I just want super
Yeah,
overs
you
dead
need
and
to have
dusted.
they just don't work out well for you.
No.
Otherwise, you'd like them.
No, well,
Yeah.
bang on there, CJ.
Just get it done in regular time, mate.
Anyway, moving on as quick as possible. Michael Checker. Gussie, signing on for your boys, the Chooks in Rugby League.
Well, I was very surprised by this, but it's a very smart move from the Roosters.
It's the most unpredictable code
100%.
switch
Yeah.
in 2020 already.
Former Wallabies coach goes, you know what?
I'll be an assistant for the Chooks.
For the
Yeah.
Chooks.
Well, I mean, he supported both sports his whole life. I mean, he grew up in the eastern suburbs
Well,
of Sydney.
yeah.
Yeah, but he was playing for Randwick. You know,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
a union boy through and through.
yeah.
But he still supports.
Yeah, but
He still
coaching,
watches and he still knows about both sports. And he said he's stoked to be part of a winning culture. And
well,
I mean,
only
he hasn't
one of them
really
is a sport,
got
so
really funny.
Yeah.
He hasn't really gotten that winning culture from the Wallabies.
No.
So I don't know exactly what he's been brought to the Roosters to do. I'm guessing it's most of his attacking.
It'll be
styles
things
of
like
play.
maybe defensive patterns in a way.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they could be used. But on your point, I don't think being a fan literally necessarily qualifies you to coach
yeah.
a team.
I
I'm
think
a fan of
being-
I'm a
yeah.
fan of the Patriots, but I'm not going to start at quarterback
I mean,
next
no,
week.
but
It's
I know.
different for him, but I do think as well. I think coaching, they are different sports and different games, but
There are
it
a lot of
does-
similarities between
There's similarities,
the two
but I
sports.
mean, tackling is very different. The whole rules and structure
Yeah.
of the game is completely different. I think being a fan and coaching are 2 separate things.
But I also thought he's been. I think he's been brought in for his experience and. The
Oh,
fact, I mean,
100%.
he was the coach of the Wallabies. I mean,
Yeah.
as if you're going to pass down that opportunity to have
Well,
someone like
I
that.
really hate these kind of intercode, like Cooper Cronk going to
Yeah,
like.
I was about to say that. They're not
I hate
uncommon
it.
now. No,
I
because
hate it.
there's different traits from different sports that people go, hey, we could use some of that in our organisation.
Mostly it's for short periods of time, and it's mainly for leadership, help with leadership, building a team, and just like special, I guess, topics that Checker would have focused on at the Wallabies that he's just brought over.
To me,
Anyway-
it's just jobs for the boys. That's what it looks like to me.
Basically, yeah. Anyway, we've got to move on because that was 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a bit too long.
Not really fast 5.
No, we're not very good at that. Again, I said
No.
that earlier. Jeff Horn, he's nearing another fight with Tim Zhu, the undefeated Australian 15-0.
Mm-hmm.
Mate, this would be pretty good. I think this would be one of the most anticipated boxing bouts
Of the year.
in Australian sporting recent history.
Yeah. It'll be in Brisbane too, Brisney land.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Good to
Bris
see you
Vegas.
here.
Well, doesn't Jeff Horn doesn't want? I heard he doesn't want a long fight. He wants
Yeah.
about 10 rounds.
I wonder
and Sue wants
why.
about
So-
12.
The contract is stalled because Tim Zhu, he's proposed
rematch?
2 conditions that Horn isn't agreeing to.
Yeah.
Them being Zhu wants to fight 12 rounds, Horn wants 10, and Zhu wants a rematch clause.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, Horn
Horn
already has a
does.
rematch clause, doesn't he?
No, but
With
Horn,
Zarafa?
Horn's no,
That was with Zarafa.
they've
But
already fought.
Yeah, yeah, but
Sue-
I thought there
Sue-
was something else.
I don't think Sue wanted a rematch.
No,
I mean, especially like
he wants to be able to go. Look,
outright, I bet you.
if I win, then I don't want to have to worry about you. And Jeff Horn,
Yeah.
he's talked about how Tim Zhu's quote not on his radar,
yeah.
and then going on to talk about how when I was at his level, I was fighting Manny Pacquiao at Brisbane.
Yeah.
But you've got to consider Jeff Horn. I think he got a bit lucky fighting Pacquiao.
Yeah.
He got his lucky break, and to be fair, he took it
yeah.
controversially. Some people don't think he won that fight, but he only got that fight because they have the same promoter,
Yeah. Well,
Pacquiao and Horn.
why do you think he wants... why he doesn't want 12 rounds, why he wants 10? Because he's fought 12 rounds plenty of times.
He probably isn't up to it.
You reckon it favours him going to shorter rounds?
I think so. Maybe it's
Or less
easier to
rounds.
train for, or is it worth it for him?
I think
If
there's
this
a
if this is a fight that if he truly doesn't think this is up to his standard,
yeah.
then why should he
Look,
do it?
I
Because
think
Jeff
that- I
Horn, he'll want to go fight for belts, won't he?
Yeah,
Go
100%.
fight in the States, not stay in
I think
Australia
there's a
and
money.
fight.
I think there's a money factor involved there as well.
Yeah.
They're trying to dispute.
No, Jeff Warren, he's happy with the 60-40 split. But
He
again,
said now he wants a 70-30 split if they're going to do 12
if it goes to 12 rounds. Yeah. But
Yeah.
again, there's contractual issues anyway.
Where do you think it's going to be quickly? Brisbane Entertainment Centre?
Battle
Suncorp?
of East Brisbane?
Yeah, maybe.
Whereabouts?
I don't know. I'm just thinking
Just
of
say
like
Suncorp and let's move on.
Zarafa, Fort Horn and Bendigo, so it could be absolutely anywhere.
Anywhere in Australia.
Yeah.
All right.
Sell out Ballymore. Anyway,
Ballymore.
Israel Folau. He's
He's
now
back.
once again a professional athlete signing for the Catalans Dragons in the Rugby League Super League over in Europe. It's Europe, right? It's better to call it that way.
Well, they're a French side in the
England
Super
League?
League.
Yeah.
It's like France, England, Wales. I don't.
Is this the
know
same
Wales, I don't know.
league that the...
Sonny Bill, Toronto Wolfpacks. Yeah.
Are they in it as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
So-
didn't know. I thought Saracens. I was thinking Saracens. Is it the same league or no? Are
That's
they
Union.
in the...
That's
Union.
Union.
Oh, is this league? Oh, true.
This is league, mate.
Fair play.
Get your head in the game.
Get the head in the game.
Yeah, so Super League, they pull in all these different clubs. Catalans is a strong side. Of course, Trent Robinson used to be their coach a long time ago.
But
Jimmy Maloney's
Jimmy
going
Maloney.
there.
Again, I told you that in pre-recording. You've stolen it.
Yeah,
there you go.
I
But
did.
Jimmy
Textbook.
Maloney, he was the New South Wales 5'8".
Yeah.
Only like 2-3 years ago. And
How
Now
about
he's
that
at
backline
the
now?
Dragons.
I mean, like, let's disregard
politics aside.
Yeah, put politics aside for a second. Israel Folau's been an outstanding player, rugby union and rugby league. I'd have to say,
Crap
especially
AFL
rugby
player.
league. He really made it in the rugby league scene. So that backline for Catalans is absolutely outstanding
For sure.
And I don't really want to get into the political sides
we
of things,
do-
but not everyone's very
we do
happy.
have to touch on it
The Wigan.
slightly. Wigan Warriors, one of their rival clubs. Certainly a contender. I think Wigan are historically certainly.
Oh, they're a very good side. yeah.
Exactly. Immediately after the Folau announcement, they announced Pride Day, which coincidentally is going to fall on when Folau ventures to Wigan.
I love this.
I think it's great.
I think it's great.
I think it's
Stick
great.
it to him.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Folau, but...
No.
Well, I
it's-
think that Wakefield are doing the exact same thing in Folau's
Oh,
first game.
I would love all the clubs to do it. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's bizarre. The fact he's playing professional sport again,
Yeah.
I think it's a bit bizarre. But anyway,
I think so too. And it's a
Anyway-
1-year contract, so I think it helps him that he's gone overseas.
Is he a ticking time bomb though, CJ? Is he a ticking time
Is it
bomb?
worth risking it as a club though?
I wouldn't.
So many questions,
I wouldn't.
not enough footy. So we're gonna have to wait and see, I guess. But that's the fast five for another week. I guess next up, interview with Joe Pincus from the Australian Sevens team. He was probably one of our, I think, best interviews so far.
Yeah.
Oh,
Certainly-
yeah.
Top guy.
Certainly, yeah, top guy, great bloke. And yeah, he's striving for the Tokyo Olympics now, and he's
Mhm.
working hard for that. Sydney Sevens coming up this week too, which is very important.
And he played in the
played
second
seconds.
15 for Southport. It just shows that even if you don't make that first side, you still got a shot. Like,
do.
this guy's
Don't give
representing
up.
there you go,
Australia.
Angus. Angus, don't give up.
Yeah,
mate.
I-
You've
There's still
got hope.
time for us, boys.
I played fifth, but I still didn't give up on my dream, and look where I am now.
Anyway, so if you want to get
Oh, okay, maybe do
play-
give up on your dream in that game.
hasn't spent an hour in a gym, or at least I
No.
hope you haven't, because
No,
it's not paying off for
every
you.
time I run, it hurts.
Anyway, the same can't be said for Joe Pincus. You can listen to what he had to say right now. And joining us this week is Australian Sevens player Joe Pincus. Joe, thanks for joining us, mate, especially so soon after Hamilton, the best result of the season so far for Australia. How did you rate the performance?
Yeah, it was really pleasing to get up on that podium. I mean, it seems we've got a good little bit of momentum coming out of that tournament. I think we take a lot of confidence out of how we went, and things started to really come together, which is good to see this early in the season.
Yeah, well, you said there that you've kind of everything's come together. You know, this kind of result, it was the best result of your kind of tour as a team. Comparing that to Cape Town, what changed in between Cape Town and Hamilton?
I think there's a few things. I think, first of all, just, getting a few of our experienced boys back that, had a bit of time off after Dubai. Obviously, we had a really, really big pre-season with the Olympic qualifiers in Oceania. So, this is the biggest training block that many of us have done. So, there was that element of exhaustion and, getting a bit tired towards the end of that Dubai tournament and then going into Cape Town. We made a few changes. But I mean, I don't think it comes down to any specific thing. I think there's a few things that you can definitely point out in Cape Town, like our discipline was pretty poor. We weren't able to really control that momentum in those important games because of our discipline. Whereas in Hamilton, having some more of those experienced heads, slowing the game down when needed, speeding the game up when needed, and just having that really clear game plan came into effect well.
Yeah, and you came 12th in Cape Town compared to 3rd in Hamilton. But we've got to touch on it. Hamilton, it's quite a weird one because no quarterfinals. How weird was that?
It was weird. It was really strange. I mean, that's the first time we've had that tournament format. And I mean, it was tough for us because we lost that game to Fiji on the end of day one. So, we thought obviously going into that, we had to win that. We had to win our next game against Samoa, but we thought, it would come down to Argentina or Fiji. Argentina needing to beat Fiji, which they ended up doing. But, it's strange. It does take the power out of your hands a little bit in that last game. It's never good having to rely on another team's results to get you through. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to verse the best teams one way or another. So if they take the quarterfinals out or not, you're still playing those tough games. So it's definitely something we've got to get used to as a team. It also puts a massive emphasis on, every single point matters in those pool games. It came down for us into for and against. Every conversion, getting a try underneath the post compared to out wide can be the difference between making top 4 or fighting down to 9th or 10th or 12th, how we went in Cape Town.
And I guess of all the teams you don't want to rely on to lose, it's Fiji, right? That's a bit of a headache.
Exactly right. Exactly right. They're hard to beat on the best of days. So, that's not a situation we want to be able to replicate. We want to replicate. We want to be able to, be winning every game in those pools when necessary to get up into that day 2.
And another thing, issue with the formatting, so to speak, is some tournaments are 2 days, others are 3 days. Tim Walsh, your coach, he's asked for consistency about that. Is that something that, as a player, you have an issue with, or doesn't it really bother you?
It's not something that I really let bother me. I mean, it's something that it would be good to have consistency one way or the other, just because it kind of does throw you off throughout the week. But like I said, at the end of the day, you've got to, whether it's 5 games or 6 games, you've got to verse the best teams throughout that weekend anyway. And I don't mind 3 days or 2 days. Either way, I'm just happy to be playing. Doesn't really affect me too much, and I don't think it really affects any of the other players. I think S&Cs like to be ahead of it, like to know what's going on, because it definitely affects their scheduling going into the week, and coaches like to know as well, because it'll obviously affect people, what minutes people can play and different combinations and things like that.
We'll loop back to the sevens in a bit, but let's take it back. Let's go back in time a little bit. Second 15 at TSS. What was that like? Because were you always a bloke who wanted to pursue rugby?
I was always the bloke that wanted to pursue rugby. I think for a while there, I didn't really believe it to be a real possibility in my life. I really, really liked playing rugby. I love playing all sports. And, if you asked me at any time what I wanted to be, I'd always would have said a professional rugby player. But there was definitely a time, through those high school years that I thought, it's something I enjoy, but it's not something that's going to be an option for me. But I mean, I still really, really enjoyed it. And I think that's kind of helped me by me thinking of it not being a possibility. It's helped me be really grateful and really, enjoy every moment of it now.
Well, I was going to say, how did the Southport School help you in your own personal rugby development?
There was a whole lot of things. There was, just the school I was at before. I really enjoyed All Saints. It was a good school. It's a good sports school, good performing arts school. But being at TSS, I think the big thing was being around like-minded people. So students that really wanted to get the most out of the rugby, and also teachers who really wanted to get the most out of their students on the rugby field and in the classroom. So I think the friendships that I made and through there, then that led on to club rugby, going and playing with the same people up in Brisbane. And then, just being around that kind of, that mindset of that performance mindset really, really helped me, I think.
Well, do you think the GPS system is important for the development of future rugby stars?
I do think it's important. I don't think you want to have to rely on it at all. But I do think it's important to have, those schools with those, programs to get people off in the right direction. But I definitely don't think you should rely on it. I don't think you should, only be able to, the only people getting the opportunities are the people in the GPS schools. So you've got to be able to find that balance, of course.
And you mentioned earlier that you maybe weren't picked for the number one squad, but you always had the dream of, I guess, playing rugby professionally. Do you think you lost confidence in high school when you maybe weren't picked for the first or weren't picked for those number one teams?
Yeah, I do think looking back retroactively, I do think I lost confidence. I don't think I ever lost the joy. I was lucky to have, really good parents that, always encouraged me to play just for more of the fun than, the making the top team or, being the best player out there or something. So, Mum always instilled in me, if you want to have fun and do well, you've got to be a hard worker and you've got to be enjoying yourself. So, when I was in high school and I lacked some of those physical attributes, it's kind of helped me through now that I've been able to catch up with everyone else, and I still really enjoy the game and I still think I work hard. And I definitely think that's, although it didn't help me back then, it's really helped me enjoy and play my game now.
And, that joy of the game, that's so important, especially when you want to be playing professionally. Is that what kind of helped you, I guess, get over the edge get over that kind of maybe loss of confidence and then keep playing rugby, keep sticking at it and to get where you are now?
Yeah, definitely. Like one of the big things that coming out of school that I really enjoyed was I got to start playing with my brother, who's someone that I looked up to all through school, and he was, someone that was a very good rugby player at school and very good coming out of school. And so coming out of school, I got to play with him, and that, that just led on to having more fun, and, playing at UQ was also really good as well. And it just helped me, really stay in a good mindset and yeah, really like it.
And so UQ, did you just play sevens there, or did you play for the Red Heavies in the 15-man format? And what did you kind of do at UQ? Because you also played at East, correct?
Yeah, I played at Eastern Suburbs when I moved to Sydney.
Okay, yes.
Eastern Suburbs Rugby Club down here. But I played at UQ. I played my Colts there. But I mean, even then, I was off the bench for the first Colts. And then I played a little bit of reserve grade there. But, by the time I started getting up into the grades, I'd be off on sevens trips, and I'd be really focusing on sevens. I also went to King's College in Brisbane, and they're very heavy in their sevens. So, I was off playing for them as much as I could. As soon as I, started playing sevens, I thought this is the format I want to be in.
Well, then you started playing for Queensland at the National Sevens tournament. You got spotted by Andy Friend. What's he been like? Well, what was he like to assist you with that transition into the professional environment?
Yeah, he was really good. So he came up and spoke to me after Nationals. It must have been in 2016, I think it was, in Adelaide. And yeah, he came up and spoke to me, and from there I got invited down to do a few. It was towards the end of an Olympic cycle, and they were starting to do a few development camps, and I got invited down. You'd go down for 3 nights on a Saturday and stay at Narrabeen, and then there'd be 8 Queenslanders, 8 New South Welshmen, and they put together a development side to go against the Olympic side, which wasn't always the most even matchup, but it was still a really good experience. And then obviously when I moved down here and started playing for East, he brought me in a couple times a week to come and train, and yeah, he was really good. He was really helpful with the transition, like bringing me in to a professional environment slowly, and he showed a lot of confidence in me early on when I first moved down.
Well, how is Sydney? What has the move been like?
Oh, I love it down here. I've got no complaints at all. I really, really like it. It's good. When I did first move down, I moved down with my brother, and my sister was already down here, so I had plenty of family down here. And obviously, with rugby, makes the move really easy. You just jump straight into a team, and you got a bunch of friends that live around the corner, so it works out very well.
And you look where it's taken you. That move down to Sydney. You made your debut in Twickenham at the London Sevens in 2018. Well, what was it like running out at the home of rugby?
Oh, that was pretty incredible. I was trying to think back on it the other day, and I can hardly even remember my first game. I remember being incredibly nervous, but Twickenham was really good, and Mum and Dad were in the crowd as well, so it was really, really special. And I remember looking around at the crowd and just thinking, this is insane, and it was loud as well. So that was very, very special.
Is it your favourite stop on tour, or is there another stop that you prefer?
It's probably my favourite stop so far. I do have to say that Saturday afternoon in Hamilton against the Fijians, the crowd was absolutely heaving,
Yep.
which was very special. And of course, Hong Kong was crazy. It's on a different level. That when you run out, you can't even hear the person next to you because that crowd's so loud.
Well, how do you think it ranks as an achievement representing your country?
I mean, I'm pretty proud of it. I think it's good. If I look back at when I first came out of school and I went down to those first development camps, and I'd see the team, I'd be in awe, and I'd be looking at all these players, and now it's funny that I get to run out next to them. And if you look at the caliber of player in the squad, you know that it's a serious level. So. I think it's a pretty high level to be at.
And of course, Australia's qualified for the Tokyo Olympics. How important to you would it be to represent Australia at the Olympic Games?
Oh, it'd be incredible. It'd be on a different level. I mean, I spoke about Hong Kong and Hamilton and London, all those tournaments, but to be able to play at the Olympics would be very, very special. And I mean, I wouldn't say it's the dream of mine growing up to go to the Olympics, because obviously rugby sevens wasn't in the Olympics. But I'm sure if you ask, the same as me, if you ask anyone else in the team, as soon as they saw on the news that rugby sevens was going to be an Olympic sport, there you go. That's the level you want to be at. That's the goal.
And I guess eyes for Tokyo. How much would it mean to you getting on that podium, getting a piece of metal, have a chunk on it, have a bite? What does that mean to you?
It would mean a lot. It would be really, really cool. Just in the feeling in the squad at the moment, like that's the ultimate goal. It has been for the last 2 years. That's been the main thing up on the board in the change room. So it would mean the world. It would be incredible. But there's a lot of hard work to be done before that. I mean, we just got on the podium on the World Series, so hopefully we can get a few more podiums before the Olympics and get it done.
Well, it all starts this weekend in Sydney. Playing in a home tournament, how much of a lift is that?
It's going to be good. Well, I've never played in the Sydney Sevens, so I'm really excited. But I've sat in the crowd a few times, and you can definitely feel that energy from the Australian crowd. So hopefully, it's gonna really keep the boys motivated and keep them rolling on from last week.
Well, when you're coming up against a tough opponent, what does the team sort of focus on? What do you do to prepare?
It's in the team at the moment. I think it's very detail orientated. So it's all about knowledge going into the game, knowing what the opponent's going to do if you do this, and what we should do when the opponent does so and so. So Walsh is a coach. Something I really like about him is he's very detail orientated. We like to think we know our opponents very well going into the game. So I think we take a lot of confidence out of that knowledge and knowing what to do in different situations.
And moving back to, I guess, your roots, if you had anything to say to any young players who want a career in rugby, no matter what form, and maybe aren't picked for a first team, what would you say to them, and what advice would you give to them?
I don't know if I'd have a single piece of advice, but I'm sure it's quite generic, but I definitely say trust the process, not the result, and control the controllables. So, the things you can control on the field is always being a hard worker, always making sure you've got your knowledge down pat. And if you're able to do those things, at the end of the day, you are just going to slowly make your way up. But yeah, I don't know about any specific piece of advice, apart from just saying work hard or something like that. But definitely trusting the process, not the result, is going to help you along the way.
Well, do you think youngsters should maybe get involved in sevens rugby at an early age?
I definitely think so. It's something I really wish I had the opportunity to do when I was younger. because when I was growing up, sevens, it was a popular thing, but it wasn't. There wasn't a specific pathway for it. But I definitely think it should be encouraged to bring in younger at schools and even coming out into clubs, because it forces you to work on your skills. You've got to have good skills. You've got to be fit. You've got to be fast, and all those things I think translate well to 15. So there's no harm in getting people on the sevens field and getting the ball in hand as young as possible.
Well, I think since it was introduced into the Olympic Games in 2016, the sport's had a bit of a boom. In Queensland, we've got Queensland Premier Rugby Sevens now, and you just see what the I guess the sport's doing with women's rugby as well. Is it fair to say that it's a sport in its own right now, or do you think it'll always be in the shadow, so to speak, of 15s?
I don't think it's in the shadow anymore. I think it's still got a long way to go, but you can definitely see that its own distinct pathway starting to form. Like you said, that Queensland Premier Rugby, I've played in it in a few years, and every year you can see it just getting better and better and better. And the thing that I find interesting playing in the Brisbane Club Rugby and in the Sevens, and in the Brisbane Sevens, is it's not necessarily the same players that are doing well in the 15 side than in the 7 side. You see lots of those reserve grade players or first grade players, and they shine on the 7 field. So I do think you can see the different skill sets starting to separate a little bit more, and hopefully, I think it'll be good for Australian rugby if you can see that the 7s players start to come through if they started playing when they're 8 years old compared to when they go to college for the first time or something like that. It's only going to improve the game in both sides.
Yeah, that's great, mate. Well, that's all from us. We want to really say thank you for joining us this week, and best of luck in the Sydney Sevens this week, eh?
Oh, no, thanks very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Cheers, mate. And that was Joe Pincus. Thanks again to Joe. Great insight, I guess, into the world of sevens and the upcoming Sydney Sevens competition that he's keen to play in. It's his first home tournament on the sevens circuit.
Indeed.
So
Yeah.
he seemed keen, but boys, a great story.
Yeah.
TSS second 15 to the world stage, literally, and hopefully due for Tokyo in July. So
Let's hope so.
it's great, eh?
Let's hope so. He's 29th, though. I don't think we mentioned it in the interview, but he's 29th in the 29th top try scorer in the competition for the whole kind of tour, which is really good.
Yep.
He's elite.
Can we also just mention how good of a bloke he was as well?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, we message a lot of really, really great players, and they have a lot of good things to say, but he was really up there and one of the nicest people
He was
we've
genuinely
probably chatted
gutsy.
to.
And again, I think it's his modesty from being in the second 15.
Exactly.
He didn't have it all his way, did he? He had to work for it, and I think, great bloke. Great bloke.
Exactly.
So thanks again to Joe. Anyway, moving on to Bulls Masters cricket. It's that time of the week.
Yes.
You're excited.
Woo
We're
woo.
excited. Gussie's excited. Gussie.
I'm very excited.
Gussie, a grand final last week.
Yeah, the Kookaburra Cup T20. It kind of snuck up on me little bit. It's sort of wedged in there at close to the end of the season. We've had a few big names come back into the to the sides. Of course, we had Valleys taking on Western Suburbs, two really informed sides this year. They've been great all year in pretty much every competition, but especially the T20s. I mean, Andrew Goad has been a standout.
He's been a standout for Valleys all season, all forms.
but
he had someone from the BBL come down.
Mark Steckety. He played probably the first 3 games of the Heats campaign. He was a little bit out of form, and he came back and he was able to really show the kind of talent he's got
100%.
in this form of the game here.
Yeah.
He took 4 for 21 in
Very
the
good.
final, which is
In a T20 too, which is
outstanding.
Yeah, and I remember, I think I was listening to the BBL commentary once, and I think it was Andrew Simon said pretty much a 4-for is like seeing a Michelle, basically.
Exactly.
It's just because of the overs you have to bowl. Basically. So he had 4 overs to bowl, and he got 4 wickets.
It's pretty much
pretty
like
bloody
hitting,
good.
It's pretty much like hitting
Went
a
for
half
like 5 each over.
It's like hitting a half century if you're a batsman.
It's more a
much.
century, isn't it? Because it's not like you're expecting a
maybe
player to...
maybe 5 is probably like a century.
pretty
Yeah.
I
much.
reckon you
okay.
could compare that.
even in T20 cricket?
Yeah.
Yeah? You'd say? Okay.
I mean,
Got
yeah,
pretty much half the lineup out. So
Oh yeah, he did.
Pretty bloody
And
good.
What more do you want him to do, Gussie?
I
Like,
think
come
get
on, mate.
10 for.
Yeah.
he could.
Get the coach out.
But he,
Like,
but,
if you
but
can.
he was outstanding, and he played a big role in Valley winning this tournament, the Tom Vivers Cup, of course. Andrew Goad was also outstanding once again, 64 off 24 balls. He hit the fastest or the highest. It was the highest T20 score in Bulls Masters history.
Pretty much.
A few weeks ago, and
Yes.
he clutched up in the final again.
Well,
Valley won by
It was
massive,
a bit of a landslide this week,
Yeah, Valley won by 94 runs,
which is huge
that is
in
smashing.
in T20 cricket.
Well, you don't often lose a game of T20 when you score over 200 runs. They scored 6 for 209. So they were pretty dominant with the bat and the ball. Look, they bowled them out for 115. Like that's
just dominated.
Domination.
Dominance. That's reminded me a bit of Neefle in terms of
Oh, yeah?
out and out dominance.
A little bit of Brisbane Lions action.
Yeah, which is coming up
Although-
soon.
It
but
will be.
We'll
Keen
chat
for
about
it.
it in a few weeks, mate.
We shall.
Yeah, it was a bit
Itching
of
for
a
it.
surprise though, because we've sort of seen UQ as the dominant cricket side all year, and they just haven't been able to win the important games, like win the finals games, because all these different competitions they have a final series.
Yeah.
UQ have lost in the semis of the One Day Cup, and now they've lost in the semis of the T20 Cup. And we've got the final series coming up for the 2 days. So hopefully UQ don't walk away with nothing.
Well, they've got a bit of Brisbane Heat syndrome. It seems like.
Yeah.
Don't remind me, mate. What does that mean for the overall standings, Gusman? In
Well,
terms of
I mean, it all contributes to the final overall.
The the three-way kind of.
Yeah.
draw.
So you've got the
that's
T20s.
That's why I said overall
Yeah,
standings.
the T20s, the 1 days, and the 2 days all contribute. It's very important, of course, winning a competition. That's going to boost Valley a long way for the overalls. But it's not said and done yet. We've still got the 2 days, and I think the 2 days are the most important. I think they're the most heavily weighted because
So what? They're differently weighted.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, the T20 competition's only over a couple of weekends. You've got the 2 day competition. That's throughout the whole year. So common sense sort of prevails. You feel as though the 2 day competition weighs a bit more because there's more games.
Also a bit of the best of both worlds and kind of between the tournaments.
Yeah. Well, currently in the 2 day competition, there are 3 weeks left. UQ sit in first place, Western Suburbs in second, Ipswich Logan in third, and Northern Suburbs in fourth. So Valleys aren't even in that top 4.
No.
Which is a bit of a shock.
They've been in and around though. They're kind of mid-table.
In and out of the top 4, but we'll see what happens in the 2 day finals coming up in 3 weeks.
Itching
There we
for it,
go.
Gusman. Absolutely
So
itching for it.
Yeah.
Normally, I guess we'd move on to Big Bash stuff, boys, but
We would.
we talked about that pretty in depth earlier in the
Yeah.
week in our extra time episode, talking about the BBL finals. So we won't touch on it again here. Instead, listen to 15 minutes of us rambling on about who we think will win and why, and us trying out some punditry, which we
Yeah.
haven't done in a while.
No, we haven't.
It's been a while, actually.
It was good though.
Thinking about it,
I think we're kind of reserving it for extra time. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't listened to any of the extra time episodes, go give them a listen.
I
On
do
Spotify-
love our
on-
extra time episodes.
I like
they are
doing them.
great. We can just waffle on a certain subject, and it's good when we're not sort of constrained by the time of
Yeah.
our normal episodes.
Could you imagine one on Bulls Masters cricket?
I'd keep talking for years.
Jesus,
I
no.
just love it that much.
But again, extra time episodes, they are exclusively on Spotify and Apple
and
Music.
Apple Podcasts and
Apple
stuff like
Podcasts.
that.
Not
Anywhere
Apple
you
Music.
can find. Yeah, no.
I always say Apple Music.
Yeah,
anyway,
strange.
I'm sorry, who
Yeah,
even
anywhere
has
where you
Apple
get
Music?
podcasts, basically, except for YouTube and Facebook, pretty much.
yeah.
basically, yeah. But no, it was a bit of fun. Again, I
Yeah.
think we hit the nail on the head, but
Yeah.
I'm a bit biased.
A little
So-
bit biased. Why would that be?
Well, yeah, great point. Great point. Anyway, moving on to a similar code, ABL baseball.
Yeah.
Pointy end of the season, CJ.
It is. We're in playoffs.
And five entered.
Playoffs.
5 entered the finals, and
Yes,
we're down to 4.
We are. A bit of a surprising fixture. I mean, someone who was kind of neck and neck with, well, firstly, Brisbane Bandits, the 4-time champions, Gornskis.
Gone. Absolutely gone.
But yeah, they're gone. Then you saw the Canberra Cavalry, who I guess pipped them for a placing. They beat Perth Heat, who've been one of the dominant teams in the league.
It's not
That's
even
a
that
surprise.
Canberra at one point in the season,
Yeah,
they look like the cellar dwellers.
Well,
didn't
they pretty much finished the season going into the final round where 1 on 500.
Well,
It's like
they-
15 on 15.
They, at one point, they were battling Geelong career for the wooden spoon, weren't they?
That's what I
Pretty
mean,
much,
Gus.
yeah.
But
Exactly.
again, once you sneak into that finals,
Clutch.
it's a different league. That's
Yeah.
what they say. It's a bit of a sporting cliche, but Canberra putting that to
Yeah.
the fore and
my
100%.
hometown.
living
My
up to that.
hometown.
Oh, mate, come on.
I'm jumping on the
Don't
Canberra
try it
Cavalry
now.
Don't try
bandwagon,
it.
boys.
I
I'm
think-
jumping on the Canberra Cavalry
Why-
bandwagon.
Why
Don't-
didn't you hop on the bandwagon in
Auckland.
NRL
Oh,
time?
Exactly.
The
yeah.
Roosters
Six,
must- you
six
can't-
again. Canberra were robbed, though, Gusman.
No, they. Oh my god! If you,
Don't
Anyway,
get me
just
started.
literally don't.
I'm absolutely flabbergasted. Anyway, one bandwagon that you should jump on, Gusman, I think, is the Auckland Tautara.
I think so
Yes.
too.
They're absolutely swimming
Yes.
so far.
Yes.
And,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got the semi-finals coming up this weekend, boys, so it'll be really good. We've got Adelaide versus the aforementioned Canberra Cavalry, and then we've got the aforementioned again Auckland Tuatara versus Melbourne Aces.
How did you say it that time?
Tuatara.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what
I think
I
it's-
asked Pinky how to say it.
I
and
think
it's
it's.
like
I think
Tuatara.
it's different every single time.
Yeah,
we
you'll hear a
pronounce it.
commentator being like, the Tautara,
Yeah,
or
that-
like the Tuatara.
That's what I heard when we went to
Tuatara.
Holloway Park.
Yeah.
Seems like ages ago now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the stadium announcer, he said it about 8 different times. So I'm still trying to figure it out. But
Well,
Yeah.
it's a bit shocking, this Final Four. I mean,
So
at the
shocking.
start of the season, I had a completely different thought on who would be there at the end.
I think we were pretty unanimous on Melbourne Aces. I think we thought they'd all kind of be in and around there. Sydney Blue Sox, Brisbane Bandits, go for 5. And then that
Perth
last one was
Heat.
probably Perth Heat.
Yeah.
So it's really surprising to see 3 teams that we wouldn't even dreamed would be there.
weren't Auckland like 1-9 or 1-8?
Last year.
No, this year.
This year, yeah, they
It
were
was
like
something crazy.
1-8 and they turned it around.
Yeah, there
And
you
it
go.
was such a good season.
I think the standout side so far has been Adelaide.
Yes.
If I'm going to be honest, they swept Brisbane in their first game, and since then they haven't really looked back. They dominated Geelong Korea. Was it them who beat Geelong Korea 21-0?
25, I
Or
think.
25-0?
25-7 or something
Yeah,
like that.
they have just been outstanding, and I
don't
they're
know.
my early tip, I
Well,
think, to win.
Is this their
Okay.
year?
Yeah, I think so.
So-
Finn's biased. He'll say the Tuatara, but
Okay,
I mean,
so we've both got our tips because,
Yeah.
yeah, I will say Auckland, but CJ, who's yours, mate?
You know what? I'm going to say Tuatara as well.
Thank you.
Wow.
See, I like you.
Yeah, I'm a little bit
Gussie?
biased, but
Hey, Gussie,
yeah.
pull your head in.
okay, sorry, mate, but my tips are usually right. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
So
Russia are going to surprise a few people at this
they
World
did.
Cup.
They scored the first try of the World
They
Cup.
did.
So
I
they
guess-
Yeah.
surprised everyone.
So you reckon Giants,
I reckon the Giants. Yeah.
formerly the Adelaide Bite, you reckon they're going to get up?
Yeah, I like the Adelaide Bite name better than the Giants. I mean, but
Gi-
yeah, I
Giants
think
is
they
a bit
will.
like
It's a bit, meh.
it's been there and done.
Go
it,
to Western
hasn't it?
Sydney.
Their logo is really boring too. So
Like, a lot of teams seem to just copy MLB
yeah,
franchises and kind of just
Yeah.
go, "Oh, Giants, that sounds cool."
Sydney Blue Sox.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Anyway,
Tuatara is pretty inventive.
that is.
Brisbane
yeah.
Bandits, pretty inventive. Canberra Cavalry, pretty inventive.
Yeah.
Melbourne
Yeah.
Aces,
I think Sydney just.
Sydney's Sydney. Sydney's it's the armpit of Australia.
Oh, how dare you? How dare you?
Especially Bondi.
Easties.
I'm not gonna.
Anyway,
I'm not gonna disagree with that.
for the
Bondi.
joke-
Take me back to the.
I don't know the words.
What a classic.
What are you
Quite a great television show.
For the record, guys, Gusman supports the Sydney Roosters. That's why we're bagging out Bondi.
Yes.
So that'll be, again...
Do you reckon they already
well,
know that by now?
I think so,
Probably.
but it's been such a long time since the
Yeah,
NRL.
I guess,
NRL.
yeah.
So
Thank God.
with that slowly creeping in, we're going to have the Nines coming up in, I think it's a few weeks.
Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
I think teams are starting to name their 9 squads.
Yeah.
Like-
You never know. Usually these Nines competitions are sort of you just play your fringe players.
well,
So.
who's the former Swan? He's like 40. Who's going to run out for the
I don't know.
Roosters?
You'd know this better than me, Campbell.
Former Swan running out for who? For the Nines team?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I actually don't know. Just a
He's-
quick one on the ABL as well. These are actually two game series. I don't know if you knew this. 2 game and then
Oh, really?
and then a third if required. So it's like best of
Okay.
3,
Yeah, okay.
which is kind of weird
does
because
that-
it's usually 4 game series.
Does that change for the final series? Like the
Yeah, I would think so. I don't know why it's this way though. I don't know why they wouldn't do because in America it's 7 game series, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess
Interesting.
pointy end of the season.
Because I think that's what they do in the NBL. I could be wrong here, but I think they
Yeah.
do 3 game series until the big one,
Yeah.
and then they extend that to 5.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Which
if
would
that's-
make sense, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
exactly.
I don't think it is. I could be wrong, but
No,
anyway,
sure.
let's say I'm right.
Didn't check your
Let's
facts.
say.
I'm just going off the top of my head,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
I mean, fair
Do we
enough.
have this former Sydney player? Do we know
Yeah,
who
his
it
name's
is?
Nick Davis.
Oh, Nick Davis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he won a premiership. I think he did.
Probably.
But I
basically-
mean, that sort of shows what most clubs will be thinking about this competition. You're gonna just be playing random people.
Do you remember it was the last Nines in Auckland? Brad Fittler.
Yeah, it wasn't the last one. I
Freddie.
think it was the second or I think there were 3 in total. I think it was it might have been the second, but he took an intercept, last ever try of his career.
And it's quite funny listening to him talk about it because I remember him saying like, I thought my hamstrings were gonna like fall off the bone.
Oh yeah,
And things like that. A bloke who, again, he's a good coach for New South Wales, but that's all he should be doing, I think, at his ripe old age. Anyway, moving on to some A-League action, boys. Sydney FC, well and truly in a league of their own.
Dreadful. Go on. Do it? Okay.
Go on.
All right.
Go on.
Oh, wait, turn it up. Come on.
Thank you.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
That's a
That
little
was
bit of
shocking.
production
And,
value
you
for
know,
the
and then-
faithful.
you really shouldn't be telling jokes like that, mate.
Too kind.
Okay.
That's enough.
And I mean, you've got the Melbourne victory. They're all good in that, but shouldn't they be changing their
No,
names to Melbourne
stop
losses?
it.
Oh,
Stop it.
oh.
No, okay, no.
That was a Gusman joke.
No.
That was a Gusman joke.
See,
No,
I-
you stole that from me. I was just about to say it, and you stole my joke.
I'm having too much fun with this soundboard
Oh
over
my
here, guys.
God.
You've got to stop me.
My ego took a bit of a boost when the crowd started basically chanting my name. So I thought, well, I've got this other joke here. You
Got one in my back
told me it
pocket.
before.
This
Might
is
as well
your
use it
This is your one.
in my arsenal.
I'm just disappointed.
I'm not angry.
Because that was a
I'm
funny
disappointed.
joke. The Melbourne victory should change their name to the Melbourne losses.
You admitted it was terrible. A terrible
No,
dad joke.
it was a dad joke. It's like, it's funny. It's what, losers laugh at, I guess, kind of.
Didn't you say it was funny?
Yeah. A little bit. It's pretty funny. Anyway, more about the game rather than telling jokes.
I don't know. I
Sydney
think
FC.
a comedy podcast.
Sydney.
Nah.
Yeah, Sydney FC.
You're just not funny enough, mate.
Sydney FC. They are well and truly in a league of their own.
Stop.
Yeah.
They are dominant.
They
they are-
flex their muscles again. They smash Melbourne victory 3-0.
Yeah.
2 red cards in this game as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
a bit feisty.
They were
Who
both.
got them?
I think they were both at the dying stages of the game. I
Yeah.
think like stoppage time
Yeah,
type
yeah.
stuff. So
they were. They must have been in the same event almost because
Yeah,
they
they
were on
were.
the exact same minute.
Le
It's a bit of-
Fondre.
bit of push and shove.
No.
No,
Oh,
I was
Lafondra
going to say
scored, yeah.
Lafondra, he keeps scoring.
He
He
scored
scored 14 in 14 now.
He's scoring
Yeah.
for fun at the moment, and I think if we're previewing this week a bit, they're playing the Raw. He's well and truly the danger man. But then if you don't pay attention to him and you go, if you focus on him only, then you've got Costa Barbarousis and
Yeah.
Ninkovic. Is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Milosnic Ninkovic.
Ninkovic.
I can't. He's from Croatia.
Yeah, he's
I
a
wanna
good player.
say. What a
Um,
weird game for Alex Baumjohann though. Scored in the 85th minute,
Yep.
and then
Gets sent off.
gets sent off
Yeah.
straight away. Pretty much.
Yeah.
5 minutes later.
Well, I mean, on Brisbane, and you mentioned Brisbane, they've got a. They won, of course, again.
This was a big win
Their
for them.
2020 start to the 2020 season has been great.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's 5 games now.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think it's something like that. So they are.
They've been at home a lot, though.
They've played a few home games. I think it was Newcastle Jets to end last year, so to
Yeah.
speak. Then it was
played
Wanderers.
City?
Wanderers.
Yeah.
They won that, so that was 2 games undefeated.
Phoenix.
No, and then it was City.
City.
They drew that.
Then
Then Phoenix.
Knicks.
They won that, and
Now this.
Central Coast last weekend.
Yes.
and that was
Yeah.
a win.
So
So again, they're a
yeah.
good team. Are they fighting form, but are they contenders or pretenders? That's the
think,
question.
I think they're squeaking through on not luck, but I don't think they have enough quality
But
to get through the finals.
They're
but I
going
think
to be really tested this week.
well, that's the
Yes.
thing. This is the week when we find out: are the Brisbane Raw the real deal, or are they pretending?
yeah.
You know, this is when they have to kind of stand up and go, "Hey," announce themselves to the
I
league.
Yeah.
think Sydney might give them a wake up call.
I
Well,
think so too.
They lost 5-1 last time they faced. I think
Yeah.
that was
Early
a
in
few
the
months
season,
ago,
yeah.
round 10 or
Yeah.
something like that. So I don't think that'll happen again.
No.
But it will be tough for Sydney FC. I'm going with the Raw.
Yeah.
I'm going to say they
It's
jag
in
it
Sydney
1-0.
too.
It is Jubilee Stadium.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I can't go past Sydney. I think they'll thrash them.
Yeah.
I think
Well-
it'll be at least 4 or 5.
It could have been. Yeah, I was about to say. Could it be a Melbourne victory 2.0?
Yeah, it's it'll be a big win.
Well-
I can pretty much guarantee.
I'll
it.
set this one up for you. Knicks, the Wellington Phoenix, get another victory.
Yeah, well,
Well,
they
they
beat Newcastle.
They
but-
bounced back, didn't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still 10 games undefeated in their last 11. So
Yeah.
I'll take
Pretty
that
good.
as a Knicks fan. I think they're up to 4th now.
They are indeed.
So that's pretty cool. But they've big test this. Have they got a game this week? No, they're on a
No,
bye this
probably got a
week.
bye,
so
yeah.
the bye doesn't tend to help.
No,
I
it
don't
doesn't.
think
We
so.
spoke about this last week.
We can chat.
Or in the
We can chat about
BBL
that
preview.
next week, I guess, with the Knicks. But you talk about Sydney FC. We just go back to that for a second.
Yeah.
They were on a bye last week.
Ah.
So does that help the Raw? or
Oh no, wait, Sydney FC
Sydney
No,
FC.
Sydney
Melbourne.
FC they played Melbourne.
3-0. They had them by the week before that.
Yeah. I just want
They did
to
too. Jeez.
Yeah.
I want to just touch on Wellington Phoenix's game. They got dominated on the stat sheet.
Well, in what?
Well,
Possession?
in every department, shots on
Oh my
target,
God, shots were
possession
crazy.
Against the Jets, yeah.
against last place Jets. It just shows how well it's a good sign and a sort of bad sign
Little
for
bit
Phoenix that
lucky.
they're able to still win a game when they're completely on paper they're completely out of it.
Yeah, I think it's a good sign, but it's also a bad sign as well.
Yeah, you want to
It's
be
good because
controlling the
it's-
game a little bit more.
Yeah, it's good because it's clutch for them, and it shows they can grind out a win.
I think they let
Not
off.
good because it
They
doesn't
let off
show
28
quality.
shots against Newcastle, I believe.
Yes, 28 shots, 7 on
Shocking.
target. So they went from good locations, but they still gave away 12 corners. So it's probably a lot of deflections and
Yeah, I
whatnot.
think-
So that's kind of good for the defense.
It was quite a similar story to what happened with the Brisbane Roar.
Yeah.
In terms of they got dominated. If you look at
Yes.
those stats, they got dominated.
Yeah, they
and there were
did.
chances where the goalkeepers stood up and did some amazing saves, pulled off
Yeah.
some amazing saves.
Jamie Young.
Jamie Young, exactly. And Marinkovic, I think his name is.
No,
the Phoenix
Birighitti.
keeper.
Oh,
Phoenix
yeah,
keeper,
in that game. Yeah,
who
yeah, yeah.
Was by no means a standard at Perry Park a few months ago. But
Mm.
again, they pulled off some absolute blinders, and then by chance, someone down the other end gets it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Corey Brown, new signing on
It's-
debut
no.
from Melbourne Victory.
no,
He used to play for them.
No,
I know.
It's an own goal.
Was it an own goal?
Yeah, it was an own goal. Yeah.
I guess you're talking about Central Coast, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
His goal,
Did
yeah,
it get
so-
counted as an own goal? Because
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
meant to be a cross. Like, he
No,
didn't mean to
Oh,
shoot.
yeah. I think,
It was an own goal.
Exactly,
That's
so,
what they've counted. It as.
Oh, fair play.
it was given to Corey Brown.
Yeah.
Um,
But then they changed it.
and then they changed it on about Tuesday.
Oh,
I
you'd
think
be
there was a
spewing.
board who went, look, it's actually an own goal.
Who cares at that point?
Let him have it. He's a defender. He doesn't get to score many of them.
Yeah, I don't.
Anyway,
Anyway,
Ollie
I'd
Roos,
probably, firstly,
Yep.
probably round of, game of the round.
Yeah.
Adelaide United versus Western United.
Yeah.
What a game.
4-3.
What
Take
a
that.
I
game.
think I think it was 3-1 after 18 minutes. It was something like that. It was something insane.
Something
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, they scored the first 2 goals, Adelaide.
Yep.
And then Besar Barisha was like, "Oi, hold up! I'll just put in 2 now myself."
Yep.
He's
and-
elite.
And it was
isn't he?
just back and forth, back and forth.
Elite.
Adelaide got the biscuits though in the end, 4-3. That's the sort of game you want to see though from the A-League.
Yeah, but-
that's exactly what you want to watch.
You also think about the result in terms of the greater scheme of the league, man. These are two
yeah.
teams, 5 and 6 on the league.
battling for that mid-table.
You know-
It's a 6-pointer.
It's not even that. It is a 6-pointer, Campbell, because there are 2 teams who are, Brisbane Roar.
Mm-hmm.
They're pushing for it. Victory, I still can't write them off.
No, you can never write them off, I don't think.
So Adelaide and Western United, that's almost a final in my view.
Yep.
Yeah, well, 2 other really informed sides at the moment: Melbourne City, Perth Glory. They also played out. Oh, they played out a draw rather, 0-0. This I wasn't expecting this as
Ball
well.
draw.
I mean,
Especially with McLaren and Fornaroli up top.
This was probably my game of the round.
Yeah.
Like before we started, it was
On
one of our
paper, for
games.
sure.
It was one of our games to watch. 0-0.
Yes.
That's yeah.
Yeah, but we see some good fixtures this week. I mean, we've already mentioned Sydney versus Brisbane. That'll be a good one.
Melbourne Derby. Oh, no,
Melbourne
that's next
Derby.
week. That is
yeah,
next
that is
week.
the next week.
Jesus.
Central Coast versus Western Sydney. Not really. That's a bit. I wouldn't suggest watching that. Newcastle Western United. That'll be a good one for Western United. There's not many great rounds this fixture. I think Adelaide United probably and Melbourne City and then Sydney FC versus Brisbane are probably
I
my
think
picks.
The State of Origin match, so to speak, that is the game of the round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Phoenix, they're not in action, so it's gonna
No.
be a
What's the
pretty-
point in watching?
What's the-
Exactly.
Just switch it off.
exactly.
Read a book.
Exactly.
or
May as well
something.
have the week off. But Ollie Roos.
Yeah, Ollie
Qualified.
Roos, qualified for the Olympics, first team since 2008, Beijing.
Yes.
To
First
qualify.
Australian under
The-
23 side. Yeah.
Yeah, the Ollie Roos, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I said the Ollie
No,
Roos.
but you said first team to qualify for the Olympics
I
since
thought-
2012.
thought that is true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Anyway, yeah.
Mm.
Mate, they
Huge. Nick
dramatic-
D'Agostino.
dramatic, I think 47th minute strike, something like that.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. And
Perth Glory youngster.
yeah,
Former Brisbane player.
I mean,
Yeah.
they did it tough.
Quadzilla. They call
Quadzilla.
it.
Yeah,
Quadzilla.
he's a quality player. He's really good on Football Manager too. Just say
Yeah.
that. Just put that out there.
Jeez, yeah, see, I thought I was weird because I was obsessed with Football
You two
Manager.
are both
Oh, mate.
addicted.
Well, he was up
It's
till
so
4
good.
a.m. the other night, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to get it just for my own
Yeah, for your
safe-
own
mental health.
well-being,
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
get it. But no, it was really, really good solo goal. Great dribbling, getting in there.
but man, dramatic. You know,
So
'cause
dramatic.
they got the loss against they lost to South Korea,
Yes.
but they earned themselves a second chance because the top 3 sides all qualified.
Yeah.
And then playing against Uzbekistan, I mean, we don't know much about
No.
what did the Fox Football, what did they call Uzbekistan?
I don't know.
Uzbeks?
Probably Uzbek.
Yeah, Uzbeks or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, just a nickname which doesn't exist.
Well, it's just shortening Uzbekistan.
Yeah,
That's
I
such
know.
an Australian
Such a
thing to do.
strange thing to do.
Uzbeks.
But again, without knowing anything about their footballing program, I expected a pretty comfortable win and
Yeah.
woke up to
Tired.
a win, but like,
I wasn't
You know.
convinced by it.
no. I
Well-
don't think anyone was, but
I mean, going into the Olympics, they get to take some senior boys.
yeah.
They get to take some. They get to take 3 not under 23, so overage players. Who do we think? So,
Yeah.
Gussie, I'll give you one player.
Oh, I'd love to.
Who would
I'd
you want to
love
take? Who
bring-
would you like to add to that squad?
I'd love to add Timmy Cahill to that squad.
Really?
I think everyone's thinking it. I mean,
I'm not.
I'm not at all.
Okay,
He's retired.
Well, all of us. Yeah, well, I mean, I'd love to see him back scoring goals for Australia, but I mean, being realistic,
Do you need us to give you a second?
I actually don't know.
Okay, I'll jump in.
Yes.
Matty Ryan.
You like Matty Ryan in
Brighton
between the
Hove and
sticks.
Albion FC goalkeeper.
Yes.
The I guess the issues with Premier League seasons and then Copa America, we've got that to worry about.
Yes.
The Socceroos.
Yeah,
and,
again, weird thing, but yeah.
so is he available? Or
Not
do we want him
sure.
over there? Do Brighton want him over there? But I mean, if they can, he is absolutely number one on our list.
100%.
Does he get the armband?
I'd say so.
Could do, couldn't
well,
he?
it depends who these other 2 players we select are.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
select. It's true.
We select.
I was thinking either Aaron Moy or maybe Daniel Arzani.
Interesting choice. He's
Azar-
eligible.
Azani's 21.
He's still eligible.
Is he
So,
still
yeah,
eligible?
No, you're fine
eligible,
there.
so you'd be able to pick someone else.
Yes, you can pick
so
someone else.
maybe an Aaron Moy.
Aaron Moy?
Yeah.
Great pick. Maybe he gets the armband.
Voldemort.
Yeah.
Potentially Voldemort himself.
Yep.
I'm going to say, the
Well,
attack...
they called him the bald Messi, didn't they?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Love
yeah.
that. The bald Messi.
He's like the Australian John Joe Shelby, pretty much.
Just because he can pass.
Basically, yeah, Jesus.
Pretty much. But I'm probably going to say, our attack hasn't been that great.
So Bozza.
I'm not going to say Bozza.
No.
I'm
okay.
going to say Jamie McLaren.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Actually. It's a
Or
smart pick.
Trent Sainsbury at the back. Shore up that back line.
Robbie
Give him
Cruz?
the...
Oh, he can finish in front of
no,
goal.
No, Jamie McLaren, he's one of the top scorers in
What
the
about
A-League this
maybe
season.
like an Adam Taggart?
No, he's playing in like Korea or Japan.
Yeah, I know. But he was banging them in, a month ago?
Yeah, but do you know how many he
actually,
scored in the in this league?
He was with the Brisbane Roar for the last season in the A-League, wasn't
Yeah.
he? So, I mean...
Yeah, I don't trust it. Go Jamie McLaren. He's been
Yeah,
elite this year.
Yeah.
Elite.
He's been really good, so I'd probably pick him. I think he deserves it, and
Yeah, probably.
I think you do need goals at these kind of tournaments, and he could
Well,
tear shreds.
Of course you do, Campbell.
Goals
you don't
win
have
games.
goals. Yeah, it's the only stat that matters. Anyway, just before we finish, let's touch on some Super Rugby that started on Friday. So
Does indeed.
possibly the day you're listening to this episode.
Red squad announced.
Reds team announced. Congrats to Harry Wilson.
Yeah.
Named to make his debut at number 8. Boys, what do we make of the team overall?
It really
I think
does.
Without
It's a
tooting
good
our
team.
own horn here.
Strong.
Yeah.
I think we pretty much called it except for the forward pack because the forward pack is...
Who knows what's going in the forward pack
when,
half the time?
I think when Liam Wright, when he was named as skipper,
Yeah,
then
that was a curveball.
it was a curveball because
no
I
idea.
wasn't expecting him in the starting 15.
No.
Let
Well,
alone-
let me just run you through the squad. You got JP Smith and Taniela Tupou, the Tongan Thor, as your props. At hooker, you got Brandon Pangamosa. I don't know how to say it properly. Then you got Angus Blythe, Lucan Salakaya Loto, and Angus Scott Young, UQ Sport athlete. And then you got Liam Wright, obviously skipper.
Yep.
You've got Harry Wilson at the 8 position, aforementioned. And then you got
Gussie
UQ boy Tate.
Yeah.
In the back line, which we picked it again.
I'm
we did
I'm
well
liking
with this
the
back
look of
line.
that back
Well,
line.
no,
We
then-
pretty much picked this back line. Again, not to toot our own horn, but we pretty much picked it.
Exactly, but I think Bryce Hegarty at 15 is interesting.
Good call.
And Jock Campbell on the right wing.
Yeah.
That's even smarter. But also Henry Spate.
Henry Spate on the left.
The flying Fijian, as they
Yeah.
call him. He used to play for the Brumbies. Brumbies stalwart son, so to speak. And he's returning to Canberra, I guess, this week to play them for the first time. So that's interesting in itself. But
Yeah.
no, I think it's a great
Yeah.
team. Jock at 12.
I was about to say,
Mateo at
these
13.
centres is probably the highlight of this team for me. I
I'd
think
go-
this is where the magic happens.
I'd go as far to say that this is the
Best.
test partnership. Unless they want to go to Moa
okay.
at 12.
Yeah, maybe. I think this is probably the best Reds squad we've seen, should I say, since 2011.
I think you might.
That's a bold call.
That's a big
bold call.
Yeah.
That's a bold call. I'm going to say it. Why not? They've
I
been
think these
crap
these
over the
partnerships
past years.
are so important. And new Wallabies coach Dave Rennie, he's going to be watching these games going, young bloke, old bloke.
We need a new halfback.
Well, I think
McDermott.
it's
I
good
think-
how many of these young boys that have been able to blood in this side.
Aussies,
I mean,
it's
that's a very
It's
young,
a very young squad.
side.
Yeah,
We'll
but-
see how they perform. I don't know if you can throw in 2011 right now.
Not
'cause-
right now, but it's got the potential.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually I forgot what I was going to say. There you go, whatever.
I think Harry
Halfbacks.
Wilson's inclusion into that forward pack is going to be big.
Yeah,
he's a really talented player, of course.
One omission.
Fraser.
I actually played cricket against Harry Wilson.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you
Why,
go.
didn't- why
It's
are
all
you
about
playing
you,
for the
mate.
Reds? Eh?
Well, I
No,
mean, it's a different
cricket,
sport,
But
Yes, so.
yeah.
so
Anyway.
it doesn't matter.
He made it work.
The mission, I guess, we're most, surprised by.
Not surprised after the trial games, to be honest.
Yeah.
I
fair
think
enough.
Brad Thorne showed pretty clear intent against the Tars and the Rebels of what his starting 23 was going to look like. Fraser, not there. He'll play for the Brothers and hopefully can work his way up, I guess.
Yeah.
throughout
I'm
the
surprised,
QPR
though,
season.
because Brad Thorne, obviously, where was he beforehand?
Coaching-wise,
Yeah.
Queensland
Was
country.
it Queensland? Yeah, Queensland country. So, yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess he played for Brisbane City. I don't know.
I think didn't Fraser have a year at country
Maybe the year before. I don't know. Because he was captain of City this year, obviously.
last
So,
year?
Yeah, well,
2020,
yeah,
mate.
yeah.
Very
The
similar.
most recent NRC
Get in the now.
season.
Yeah.
Quite surprised Fraser didn't make it. Into
Yeah,
that
not
side.
even on the bench, which is
Yeah.
surprising.
Yeah, but
Isaac Rodder, I guess. I guess it's fair
mean,
enough.
that's
it's
a surprise.
a strong bench.
That's the biggest surprise I saw from the team.
Isaac Rodder not starting.
Yeah, because Isaac Rodder for me is not only a test level player, but he's arguably should be captain of the Queensland Reds.
Yeah.
So the
yeah.
fact he's on the bench, I find really surprising. But this first match is so big for who's going to top the pool and that
Yeah.
type of thing. It's these Australian derbies, man. More often than not, only one Australian team tends to make the finals.
Yeah.
And if you start slipping games, then you're in danger. So, I
Who
guess
do you play instead? Who would you play instead of? Well, where would you slip Isaac Rodder in?
the second row. He's a second
Yeah.
row.
Well, who?
I just have him in there. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. You take someone out. You just don't know who.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I like Alex Murphy there as well.
Yeah.
I think he's good.
Well, tell me the locks again, please.
Starting locks.
Yeah.
JP Smith, and then you've got Taniela Tupou.
JB Smith at lock.
Oh, at lock? No.
Four-
Sorry, I thought
four
you
and
said
five,
no.
mate.
4 and 5. Yeah, Angus Blythe and Lucan Salakai Loto. Sorry, I thought you said prop.
I'll take out Blythe
Yeah, I would too.
because Toka is
He's an Australian player.
Aussie, yeah.
Yeah, I would take out Angus Blythe
Again,
too.
but these are things that Thorne's probably going to try and work with throughout the season.
Yeah.
Eddie Jones, throughout the Rugby World Cup, he was a big advocate for bench players.
Yeah,
They're not bench players, they're finishers.
yeah,
And that's a position in its own right. So maybe Thorne's adopted that and he's going, Rodder, you're a really, really good player, but we want your impact
yeah.
against the tiring Brumbies outfit. So let's see how that plays out.
But I mean, surely you're wanting your best players on the field the whole time.
Again, but it's how can you get the most out of these players?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like Bowden Barrett, before Dan Carter left, he was in the number 23 shirt, always a bench player.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
when Carter left, Bowden Barrett won back-to-back Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Mm,
So it's about how you can get the most out of these players rather than forcing it to make it work.
for sure.
Anyway, one thing we do want to touch on as well, GPS, Term 1 sports, starting up this week. So cricket, volleyball, swimming and rowing. Actually, swimming won't start up for a while though, will it?
It's
Well,
usually
the
it's
finals
like-
this term.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's usually at the end of the term.
Exactly,
But they
so-
do
No,
meets and
that's
stuff.
the meets are going throughout the whole season. Like
Exactly.
like any of these other sports, it's just the GPS, I guess,
I couldn't row.
championship.
I think I rowed in grade
Oh.
8. I rowed in grade 8, and that was with afternoon sessions.
It's not fun.
And then cricket, I couldn't stand it there the whole day. So
I didn't even.
Volleyball.
basically,
Come to the dark side, my friend.
No, cricket was the obvious go-to in term one. I mean, rowing. Didn't even consider it. Early
Yeah.
mornings, you just no. I prefer to stand in the field all day.
What would
rather
you
than
say is the
row.
most popular term 1 sport?
rowing.
No,
I would say so too.
Yeah, across all the schools.
Yeah,
If you wanted to go school
Yeah.
by school, then
It would change.
You go like grammar, volleyball,
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
I think you're right. I think rowing's the
Even-
most popular. I think cricket's the best.
even BBC.
Yeah.
BBC,
Volleyball.
guys, yeah, BBC. Would you say there's a bit of a changing of the guard in that sense? In that volleyball might not be the favourite sport at the moment in term 1, but it's certainly like there or thereabouts.
I
now.
think Nicolaitis has done a lot for the program.
I think our year especially was really important for volleyball at BBC especially because they were just outstanding. I don't know what it's like right now because I'm not at the school anymore, but I assume the volleyball program is doing fine.
no idea how they let you
No
graduate.
What do you mean?
Never mind.
I got a better OP than you. What are you talking about?
All right, let's not get into this. let's wrap it up.
Anyway, make sure you're following us on Instagram and Facebook. So on Facebook, that's at Beyond the Sidelines, and on Instagram, it's _Beyond the Sidelines _. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, catch us all on there. And tell your friends. I'm a big advocate for that at the moment. Tell your friends, why not? Won't hurt you.
Yeah, go listen to our Extra Times.
That
If you
is
haven't
true.
listened to that, go listen to all of our episodes for that matter. But Extra Times are kind of new thing we're testing out, seeing how it goes, seeing where it suits best.
It's going okay.
Yeah, it's going well.
Yeah.
We're enjoying them.
It's basically an opportunity for us to delve deeper into some topics specifically because sometimes it is a bit rushed
Yeah.
here. I guess,
Yeah.
it's cool.
We only get like 5 minutes maybe to talk about something, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Usually
yeah.
we go over. But
Most
we
of
get
the
to go.
time.
We
Most
get
of
to go
the
into
time,
depth. We can talk for half an hour about something,
Yeah.
which I love.
That's it. Anyway, that was a massive week of sport, so thanks for joining us. Another big week coming up. NPL starts the end of next weekend.
Does
so
AFLW starts end of next weekend?
It's very
Yeah,
exciting.
There's a lot
exciting
going
times.
on.
So plenty for us to chat about next week, but for now, that's all from us. Cheers.